Globally, 1 million plastic bottles are purchased every minute. Consumption of plastic bags is at 5 trillion every year. Yearly, around 300 million tons of plastic waste are generated. Around 40% of these plastic wastes come from single-use plastics such as packaging. And most of these plastics are being thrown in the ocean. In 2019, 81% of global ocean plastic wastes were emitted in Asia. It was also identified that the third largest contributor of ocean plastic waste is the Philippines. And according to the Worldwide Fund for Nature, 35% of this waste is leaked into the open environment. 33% is sent to landfills and dump sites, and only 9% is recycled. Plastic pollution has been a pressing concern as these wastes will choke the waterways across the country and worsens disaster, particularly during the rainy season. 79% of plastic residuals come from food packaging. Key packaging materials in the country are rigid plastics, rigid metal, paper and board, glass, and flexible packaging. To manage the increasing concern on plastic pollution, extended producer responsibility was enacted in 2022 in the Philippines. It is a regulatory system that requires producers to be responsible for the waste their products generate. The framework aims to incentivize a more sustainable, circular economy by rethinking product design, reusability of items, and recycling collection rates. One of the systems that will be beneficial is circular economy. Circular economy primarily aimed at minimizing and making use of the most of the resources. It has a regenerative approach that aims to decrease the growth of usage of resources. Circular economy is governed by the three R's, better known as reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reducing is avoiding the unnecessary use of resources to reduce the amount of waste generated. Reusing is repeating use of items still with usable aspects, while recycling is finding ways to use waste itself as resource. We talked with Mr. Daryl Uy of Nestle Philippines on how they execute the EPR by using circular economy approach, its current innovations, and the company's sustainability initiatives. Nestle is the world's largest food and beverage company. In the Philippines, it produces and markets well-known brands such as Nescafe, Nido, Milo, Nestea, Maggi, and Bear Brand.
Actually hit plastic neutrality last 2020. So this means that the plastic we put out in volume is equivalent to the plastic that we recover and then we reprocess. So basically uh, ano siya, um, zero na talaga siya, plastic neutral na kami. So hindi naman siya limited to just Nestle products. We accept yung any kind of plastic that we can recover. Ang challenge lang talaga doon is how to recover kasi aminin natin na in the current situation of the Philippines, very much lacking tayo in terms of infrastructure, in terms of recovery, sorting, yung materials recovery facilities natin, even though they're implemented sa solid waste management programs of the country, hindi siya well implemented talaga. So, yon challenging pa din yon, and at the same time wala din tayong enough infrastructure for recycling which is accessible to a majority of the population. So most of the innovation right now is on reduction of virgin plastics, which is like yung percent ng plastic that we use in the packaging is reduced by X%, so like let's say 10 to 15% ganoon. And at the same time we're trying to evaluate or innovate na yung packaging materials that we use right now are not are easily recyclable. So if you look at Maggie Magic Sinigang, it's one of the prime examples of a packaging that's easily recyclable. So nakalagay yun sa packaging itself So even though wala pa tayong enough infrastructure in the country to be able to recycle yung plastic waste natin, but we're setting up the system na yung packaging itself is ready when the time comes that the infrastructure is also ready. So um yun, so we plan to implement that to all our packaging, single-use plastic na packaging, para at least, yun nga, setting it up para in the future, we're ready to recycle these kinds of packaging. Thus, at the same time, if you're also familiar with, we're the first food manufacturer or FMCG industry to implement yung paper straws. So that in itself was a really big contributor to the reduction of the virgin plastics and greenhouse gas na emissions because the shift from plastic to paper, malaking impact siya na hindi na tayo gumagamit ng plastic for the straws na yun. So even though again, since nakaka-take away siya from the user experience na just paper lang, so kailangan talaga may film coating pa rin siya since yun nga parang since to manage yung pag-akit niya sa straw, yung nung product sa straw, still majority of the material is already paper. So may mga ganoong innovations that we've already implemented, and then we also plan to implement it in the coming years, since yun nga parang especially since we're nearing 2025 na yung target natin is majority of these targets should have been hit by 2025. So we play on three key areas, which is sustainable sourcing and sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, renewable electricity, and then reduction of virgin plastic use. So I think by a third by 2025. So yun. So on those three key areas, we're doing concerted efforts on contributing to hit those goals. So for example, for reduction of virgin plastic use, which is also, I think, in relation to greenhouse gas emissions, we try as much as possible na yung current packaging right now is reduced in volume, but still keeping the same quality and food safety of the product. So still very much important yung integrity, but at the same time exploring how we can still reduce the volume of plastic that we use for virgin plastics. So yun, I think yun yung one of the key areas, and at the same time for sustainable sourcing or sustainable agriculture, hindi ko lang sure kung familiar kayo, but Nescafe is part of the Philippine Coffee Roadmap. So that project, it's with the Department of Agriculture and a lot of other stakeholders. So very much key goal niya is to have sustainable sourcing or regenerative agriculture practices implemented by our farmers. So part of that project, si Nestle contributes to it by equipping farmers on how to sustainably use the land so that they don't sap the land of its resources, and then at the same time giving back to these farmers. So last year we had this campaign, yung Kapit Bisig campaign, which is you can see there na the proceeds of that campaign will go to the education of the farmers, of the children of these farmers. And these will be the future farmers naman of the coffee that goes into our supply chain. So very much into that kind of projects tayo. And then at the same time, for example, another bucket or another key area is the renewables electricity. So um, um, so all of our manufacturing sites, Nestle-owned manufacturing sites, are using renewable electricity already. So certified yon, and then 100% siya. So that means na yung source of our electricity is from a renewable energy source. So yun. So hindi lang namin, of course, there are other things that come into play like um, we have to hit certain standards in terms of claiming yung ganitong klaseng claim streams. But again, some of these targets we've already hit, and then we're adding on to it para makakontribute kami to that net zero roadmap.
Admittedly, the company acknowledges that to achieve their plans and actions for packaging sustainability, it is very important that managing and reduction of waste should be approached holistically. This means that cooperation between Nestle, the community, and government will be very crucial to complete their vision.
Would be the one I mentioned, yung recycling facilities. Yung
Mm-mm.
facilities. Kasi even though I think familiar naman kayo with the implementation of
Mm-mm.
EPR, ganon. So responsibility of the producer to be able to recover and then like manage their own waste. Yung targets doon have already been implemented by Nestle before the law was the bill lapsed into law. Pero infrastructure talaga yung kailangan natin here. And then that's what we're trying to go around na parang instead of like targeting the infrastructure which we can't really address without the help of the entire community and the stakeholders, ang ma-address natin is what we are currently doing. So like yun nga, parang addressing the plastics that we use, the plastics that we produce, and then everything that goes into the value chain for Nestle itself. So yun.
So you mean for it to really work out effectively, it should be a collaborative effort between the community and Nestle.
Yes. Ma-realize nyo yon when talking to other stakeholders din, like government, individuals, yung consumers, na ganon. Kasi Filipinos have this understanding of sustainability attached to climate change. So, parang more of na parang, okay, since matinding init ngayon, babahain na naman kami sa rainy season, it's always attached to climate change and it's always attached to health. So yun. So parang how do you bridge that gap in terms of understanding sa Filipino consumers, and at the same time na parang hindi siya solely responsibility ng ng producers, kasi how can we manage our waste effectively if in the LGU levels hindi nila kayang ma-recover yung waste nila effectively din. So if you see the examples of Marikina, Baguio City, lahat yon nag-work because the LGU is NQC in a way na nag-work siya because the LGU is very much works with the community na parang, okay, guys, ito yung implement natin na maayos, parang segregate your waste, let's recover it responsibly. So parang dapat everything in the system has to work. It has to be a collaborative effort by everyone for the entire system to work. Kasi kung hindi, kung one of it is only functioning and the rest of it is not doing anything, it will collapse, di ba? So, yun, malaki pa yung challenge, like super laki pa talaga ng challenge. Like even ako sobrang marami na akong events din na na-attendan in the course of in the past year na parang on sustainability and all of it, and you can really see na parang it has to be an understanding. You have to like give that effort of educating your consumers, but at the same time doing what you can as an industry.
We also talked with Ms. Rialyn de Guzman, a seasoned expert in packaging, where she discussed about the challenges of the industry in achieving sustainability.
Wickerman is dealing with the converters and the producers of the packaging from end to end. Like, if you look at your plastic packaging, syempre magsa-start siya as pellet. So we have a supplier that does the pellet itself, the resin itself. So ang sustainability material kasi comes from the resin muna, di ba? Whether it's from starch or whatnot. So, we also deal with customers na from resin, gagawin niya ng film. Or from resin, gagawin niya ng rigid plastics. And from there on, kami rin ang kausap for printing and converting na kung ano man yung end product nyo. So, yeah, so that is future forward, but we're there already. There are some evaluations happening, but I think what helps me to do the seminar last time is actually my background with Avery Tennyson, because I also do talks for Propac. It's also about sustainability. So more or less, I'm with it, and I hope I have engagement with the Farms Association as well. But we're looking into that once our recycling portfolio is finished, because we also have recycling machines.
Okay. So basically, Miss Ria, no, your products are machineries, and these
Machines right
machineries
now, yes.
are using and fit kumbaga for materials that are sustainable. Tama po ba?
Yes,
That's
yes.
that's what Rickerman is doing or doing and moving forward gagawin pa rin. Tama po ba?
Yes, the present is we have machines that can cater the sustainable materials, but we also have peripheral machines who does sustainability practices, like recovery of solvents, repurposing the trims. So, hindi siya part nung handle ng materials into packaging, but it's post-process, diba? So, we also have that machine.
I know, Miss Ria, you discussed already this in the
Yeah.
Seminar. Can you discuss po sa amin din on how circular economy works?
Yeah. Yung circular economy kasi is really more of trying to make a packaging not a waste at the end of its life. So, you reuse it as much as possible. So, kaya nga yung EPR law is really more on the producer side, is because the aim is once you produce and it goes to the consumer, you need to be able to recover it so you can reuse it again back to the consumer. So it's a closed loop system. So the producer, before EPR, they don't care. Siyempre kung i-recover nila o hindi. But right now, medyo it's challenging for them because the main goal, actually right now, the sustainability material part, parang everyone is clueless pa kung ano talaga yung sustainable, ano yung packaging talaga na identified with criteria as sustainable. But just to share, when I was with Avery Tennyson, I think the goal is like the ones designed by Korea na mayroon talagang naka-define. Like type 1 packaging, ito yung highest sustainable packaging, something like that. So far, wala pang ganyan. So kaya recovery pa lang sa ngayon. Yung doon sa circular economy, recovery pa lang yung focus ng government sa ngayon at saka ng mga corporations.
Okay. So, Ms. Ria, since di ba may EPR na po and of course we're promoting circular economy. So, you discuss some of the challenges. Ano pa po ba yung mga ibang mga challenges regarding sustainability in the packaging industry?
Yeah, I think unang-una talaga is recovery. Kasi yung system natin ngayon ng pagko-collect ng waste, may intermediate as mentioned during the discussion, right? Hindi siya kapareho ng ibang countries na yung recycler na mismo ang nagpipick up ng mga waste na yon. So, yung intermediate natin would be the junk shops. So, kaya mayroon tayong konting bottleneck. Kasi yung whether there is available solutions na recycle friendly, kung meron ka pang middleman, parang hirap ng collection. And also, one of the challenges, even if you collect, like you collect so many trucks of plastic, wala pang ganun kadaming facility ng recycling plant in the Philippines. And parang hindi pa rin, if I'm not mistaken, hindi pa naman klaro talaga kung ano yung dapat i-comply ng mga recycling facilities. So, yun yung mga kailangan pang, I think, most probably the people na nag-push ng EPR, kino-consider naman na nila to altogether. But then, yung recovery kasi right now, parang babalik pa rin naman siya sa landfill, pero yun lang yung mga identified talaga na landfill. Parang yun pa rin ang end goal sa ngayon. Kasi there are some corporations, parang they partner with mga companies like GeoCycle. I don't know if you're familiar. So, nagko-collect sila ng waste, tapos ini-incinerate nila yon. They use it for their cement. So, again, yun yung problem. Collection, tapos kung paano may repurpose yung kinolect mo. Kasi sa ngayon, collection lang. Kung paano may repurpose, hindi natin alam. I-incinerate ba siya? Mapupunta ba siya sa landfill? Mare-recycle ba siya talaga? So, yun yung mga challenges sa ngayon. I think ang problem is Mado, pero hindi pa figure out ng mga administrative local, say for example, local government, parte ba ng administrative plan nila, yung recycling? Parte ba yung ng administrative plan? May budget ba sila? May resources ba? So, the intent is clear, but the how, not sure yet. we would like to know, actually, kung nasan na sa ngayon. The best is really to engage with BARMS, DENR, EMP, kasi sila yung in charge talaga dyan sa sustainability.
Okay. So parang you're saying mo, no, na while the intent, there is already a law and implementing regulations already, but on how to execute it, and of course the infrastructures are not yet established or present doon sa sa
Yes.
country here in the Philippines.
Yes. Kasi just to share, like say for example, may mga customers kami right now who inquires for a recycling machine. We have solutions for recycling machine, but they cannot push for that endeavor kasi hindi enough yung batas na nako-collect nila. And the machine needs a certain yield para mag-recycle. So, ganun. Parang ang hirap niya sa ngayon na to make things happen. Kasi nga, may collection pero ilan lang. May machine pero ilan ba? Something like that. So, kailangan nila mag-usap-usap.
So, it's more on the talaga. Of course, while you are doing your part po, Rickerman and other private companies, of course, depende pa rin po talaga siguro dun sa government po natin. No? Siyempre, you need rin talaga na may compliance pa kayo na gagawin. And
Yes.
ayun, medyo malabo pa.
Yeah, I think siguro because in Asia kasi isa yung Philippines sa unang nagpasa ng law eh. So baka birth pains pa to nung nauna tayo. So hindi pa siya established. Not necessarily it will not happen, but because nauna tayo, baka susunod pa lang yung mga talks with the stakeholders. Kasi I think as mentioned during the seminar, the recycling group understand recycling. Kami naman, nung nasa Avery kami, we understand sustainable labels, but we don't know much about recycling. So sometimes what happens is, when we speak to recycling group na itong product na to can do this, can do that, then the recycling party will say, it's not happening in the Philippines. So it's not local. So hindi siya, alam mo yun, hindi lang, mayroong available information, pero paano mag-a-align siya lahat? So siguro that will be the future step ng government. Actually, to be honest, mahirap, no? Kasi for some countries, meron na silang incentives para i-drive the sustainability. Parang all of these initiatives naman kasi boils down to, yes, there are options, pero sino yung willing magbayad ng premium? Okay, so yun yung problema. So, again, yung options are already there, kaso expensive pa talaga siya. Yun yung medyo problema. Like big companies, kapag nag-pitch ka because the government wants sustainability and whatnot, pag nag-pitch ka, syempre ang next, okay, magkano? So if it's times 5, hindi na niya na i-consider. Kasi may impact naman siya. Kasi remember, ESG, hindi lang naman siya environmental. Dapat sustainable din yan sa profit ng ng kumpanya. It wouldn't make sense to just, we know that yung impact ng environment ramdam natin. Pero businesses would still keep yung nila, di ba? Yung business afloat. So, yun yung problema. Actually, no one wants to pay a premium. So, governments need to have an incentive program para mag-fly siya lahat. Kasi bihira pa yung mga suppliers right now na kayang mag-provide ng sustainable materials na neutral yung cost. To be honest. Kasi lahat ng materials right now, dahil ini-innovate mo siya kung paano ipinoprocess para maging environmental friendly, madami siyang process na dadaanan. So, ibig sabihin, nagmamahal siya every process. So, parang you cannot do away with the cost right now. Tapos, halimbawa, syempre, in terms of demand, hindi pa siya ganun kadami. Kasi ilan pa lang naman yung early adapters. So, law of supply and demand siya. So, mas konti demand, mahal na mahal pa talaga ngayon. So, unless everyone nandoon na sa move sa sustainability, may volume projection na, then medyo bababa siya. So, yung effect sa packaging industry, sa totoo lang, parang parang sila anong tawag doon? Watch and see mode. So, they just know everything na options at hand, pero they're just waiting. Kasi ang mandated pa lang naman yung malalaki, di ba? So, yung mga malalaki pa lang yung natataranta. So, yung may mga penalty, yun yung natataranta. Pero, hahanap at hahanap sila ng ways to comply with sustainability sa pinaka-practical sa kanila. But that doesn't mean mamimit yung end goal ng circular economy. Kasi mahal yon. Like I said sa sa meeting, medyo mahirap siyang gawing priority dun sa RRR kasi mas madali yung reduce reuse kaysa recycle. Kasi merong technology machines mas mahal. Kasi European machines lang makakapag-produce ng mga sustainable materials. So, yung mga sustainable materials naman na fully developed, syempre magagawa lang din siya ng mga European suppliers kasi may mga R&D sila. So, something like that. Medyo yung packaging industry, maghihintay lang yan.
Ms. Rialin discussed some of the innovations in the packaging industry, which includes using single plastic material and utilizing water-based and plant-based inks in labels and adhesives. Corn and cassava as plant-based materials can also be converted as packaging and utensils for food. With the full enactment of the Extended Producer Responsibility Act of 2022 in the Philippines, large companies are expected to come up with solutions in recovering a portion of their plastic packaging waste to prevent facing financial penalties. It presents an opportunity for sustainable businesses to promote innovation in exploring alternatives to traditional plastic packaging. This can stimulate partnerships with different local communities, industry experts, and government agencies to improve their approaches in packaging development and methods for waste management. However, the call for action grows stronger for every entity to keep up with the changes and together maintain the sustainability action we all strive for.